Hi, welcome to Camper Fandango. This is our YouTube channel. I'm Ben.
I'm Brianna.
And today in our episode we're going to show you how to install deluxe trim on a VW split screen camper van. So this is our deluxe trim kit. It's a complete kit, not just the strips itself. So it's got all the little end pieces, all the screws, and yeah, pretty much that's it. So unboxing. So we need to straighten this out. Now we're working in our underground garage of the apartment where we live. So this isn't an actual work kit. It's not the easiest environment. A nice straight workbench would be easier, but what we can do is use this bit of cardboard from the kit and very carefully specialist tools, flip-flops. So, nearly there. Not bad so far. What you're trying to do is not kink it. Well, first of all we're going to mask it up, because what we don't want to do is damage any of the paint. Because obviously if you start putting something metal against that and holding it and moving it, you can scratch all the paintwork. So the next step is to protect all of the paintwork. Then we'll put the pieces on, get them in the right position, mark off all the holes with a pen, take it off, check inside where we're going to drill, to make sure there's nothing on the inside that can either snap the drill bit or get damaged if we go through too far. And then we'll drill the holes, and once we've drilled the holes we'll put the piece back up, still with the masking tape in place, and we'll screw it in, make sure everything fits, and so that actually the screws will cut their little sort of thread into the hole, and we can take it all apart, take off the masking tape, and then with some paint we're going to very carefully just put a little bit of paint in all the holes, because we've obviously just exposed bare metal, and if we don't do that, condensation overnight or rain will make that rust, and then in no time at all you'll have rust streaks all running down, which will be horrible, to the top of the hinge. So what we've done is we've used that as our starter point, because that's fixed, and so that we get everything else even, I've just got a pair of these sort of kind of divider type jobbies, and I've just set the gap so that it matches from the crease to the bottom of the trim. And now what we can do is we can use that measurement always and chase it along, see? So I just put a second screw in there just to give you an idea of how, you know, we want to try and line up the, because you've got the ability to move it up and down slightly once you've got your first screw in, and then you can set the gap. And if you look, we haven't put any other screws in, but look, the gap starts to get bigger. So what we need to do is when we put the next hole in, we're going to jump a couple of screws, just come over here, and then that's how much we've got to come down. So we've got to actually bend it down slightly and put the next one here. And then as we come along, we'll keep pulling it down so that the gap is the same, and we'll end up in the right position here, and then everything else should be the same. Again with this, we'll just use the same gap. So, next hole. I'm going to mark it so I know where to pull it and I don't have to hold everything all at the same time. If I pull this down to there, that's where it wants to be. That's my pencil mark. Now for these screws that come in this kit, I need a 2.5mm drill bit. I'm using this little Bosch drill driver because the chuck goes nice and tight on these little tiny drill bits, so it's not an issue. So I can pull that down, but I might even try and pre-stress it a little bit. There we go, just to make it a little bit less of a pull. And I'm gonna just pop a hole in there. Just like that. We'll get a drill bit driver. In fact, I've got another drill I can use for this. To save having to keep swap the drill bit out. So I'll put that down into a nice low setting here, so that I'm not going to shear off the screws as I wind them in. And I put it on 1 instead of 2 so I don't go in too quick. You ready? I've got the screw on the end here. I'm just eyeballing the hole. And there it is. And I'm going to move along. Get the gap the same again. So I need to give it a bit more of a bend. There you go. So about there. So mark the line, pull it down to where it needs to be, pop a hole in. Grab a screw, basically rinse and repeat all the way around. So look at that, beautiful, same gap. So now this one you've got to be careful with, because when you drill it, it's locked at the moment, but if you look on the inside, you'll see that there is other bits and bobs. So look, if you see where this lines up, this hole is going into here where this comes down. So what that means is we've got to be very careful when we're drilling the hole, because we're going through more than one piece. And there's the next piece. Now I think the screw is going to be short enough not to hit the next piece, because we've got a curve there like that. So it'll be nice and safe, but if you go loads of pressure, you're going to end up breaking, snapping off your drill bit. There we go. And now that you're happy with the line of the trim, where it sits, you can drill and screw in all the other ones. Or you could mark the holes, take it off and drill away. Depending on how, I'm happy to drill with it there because I know I'm not going to damage it. But if you're not that au fait with tools and everything, maybe it's a good idea to mark it, take it off. You've got no worries about damaging your trim then. But as it is now, that's like that. We're going to go to the next piece, which is a little tiny piece in the bag. And that, obviously for a left-hand drive vehicle, not exactly sure what the difference would be for a right-hand drive one. I guess it's that curve there would be that way on the opposite side. So let's get this piece open and I can show you what I mean by the curve. So if you look at it, that's a straight line, that isn't, it's curved. So on a left-hand drive bus, it's on the right-hand side, and that curve takes, I'll show you with the pencil, the gap either side even, because we've got our little end pieces to put in. So I'm actually going to mark this one and then take it away, so it's easier to drill. There we are. Two little holes. I'm only going part way in with the first screw so that I've got a bit of movement to allow me to make sure that I line up the second screw in the hole. There we go. Now, with any luck, that should all tighten up together nicely. Beautiful. There it is. Next, we have this. So these are for here, and they should both be the same length. So we have our starting position. Again, line up the gaps. It's about a sort of a kind of like a 2mm gap each one.
You don't need to put up all of them because you need to take it out again.
We need to put all of the screws in. The reason for this is that when you put the screw into the hole, it's actually cutting, it's kind of opening up the hole in a sort of slight twist because the thread of the screw is making its own cut into that hole. And we need to do that before, well, we need to do it all, so that then when we take it off and put the paint on the holes to cover up the bare metal, it's already got the right shape. We're not trying to take off again, you know? So the first one, so it's pulled it in nice, and we're not bad there.
Yeah, it's looking nice.
So we've got to get the next one down. Just want to check that with the, it's just a little bit high. Okay. That's what I'm looking for, a nice closed, tight finish here.
Mm-hmm. It's looking good.
Now it's got a little, but that's the point where it was overbent at the factory. So I'm going to just try and press that into place there. screw in. Yeah, it's not perfect. Because we've got a slightly bigger gap here now. I don't think it'll notice too much. I mean, we're talking about 2 or 3 millimeters bigger. And we can just raise that slightly higher. Nobody will ever know. Apart from everybody who watches the video. So this one here. There we go. So I need to put a bit more of a bend in it here. Yeah, it looks really good right the way to about here.
I
Then it
think
just doesn't bend down enough.
if we put first the screws there.
Yeah, we can bend it in place.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think the hole is exactly where I marked it previously. I'm going to do it again anyway, just in case. Actually, it's a bit lower. What happened then?
What happened?
I don't know, it's weird. Try this again. No, it's drifted off to the left. Oh, I might be drilling an old well. Yeah. So, I'm going to use the same trick as before. This time on the front it's just a fraction smaller. Not a lot. That way. That's where it is. I can feel it drilling through the...
putting that on the same place
exactly.
where it was originally.
Yeah, it's the old holes from the original trim. And the reason we don't have the original trim on it is because, yes, I drove it around for many years as a very ratty bus, but it came to a point where I wanted to make it look nice and sort of preserve it. So everything needed to be restored, and the deluxe trim that was on it was really, really messy, and somebody wanted to buy it as it was, so I sold it. And I knew that the holes wouldn't line up on any future new reproduction trim, so obviously before I painted it I welded up all the trim holes, but it seems that some of them do line up. So this front piece appears to be lining up with the old holes. Yeah, so this is the end caps, and these lovely little pieces just basically slot in like that to finish it off. Very nice. So there's one at each end, unless it's the two bits at the door, and then they sort of do their own thing. But interestingly,
Are we going to put the rubber inside?
I think we'll do that in another video. So the thing about this is these aren't lining up with the cut end. You can see what I mean. So I'm going to have to elongate the holes in one of these clips. pretty well fixed. So that's simple, because it is only aluminium for us, if we remember. So nice side cutters here by Nipex. Just going to literally snip it out, and now the screw will go through. Okay. There you go, 2 clear holes, more or less. Enough for us to get the screws in. Making sure I get the curved one on the right side. There it is, installed. You can hear that phone in the video, maybe. Not the right one. Better. Screw.